My name's Kurt and I'm from Feel the Burn Hot Sauce. So today I'm going to be talking about growing super hots and growing peppers in general. Feel the Burn Hot Sauce, we've been a company since 2021, but I've been growing peppers since longer than that. I think probably 2017-ish maybe is when I first started dabbling with growing super hots and stuff. And one of the things that I've learned is they take a lot of patience, right? So at Feel the Burn Hot Sauce, we grow all the peppers to make our own sauces. And at the end of the season, when we've got some really good plants, some really good peppers and stuff like that, what we like to do is we like to save the seeds. So what I've got here is I've got a bunch of different containers that have different seeds from different plants and things that we sort of cultivated over the years that we really like, that have been good producers for us, that have been really hot, so on and so forth. So right here I've got some scorpion peppers from 2024. Right, I'm gonna plant some of these in here today. One of the things that I want to talk about though with this is, obviously I've got my dirt, my trays and stuff here, and I'm going to put my seeds in. If you know anything about super hots, the entire pepper is actually hot. So things like jalapenos and stuff, it's essentially just the outside of it. But when you start getting the hotter peppers, like the ghost peppers, the scorpions, the Carolina Reapers, all that kind of stuff, the whole pepper on everything, the membrane on the inside is usually one of the hottest parts because there's oils and stuff that it's emitting that has capsaicin in them, and which means the seeds are hot too, right? So before I plant seeds and stuff, one of the things I always make sure to do is I always make sure to get a pair of gloves and put a pair of gloves on. These seeds, sometimes even when I'm planting them, they make me cough a lot because there's capsaicin still on them, right? You can smell the heat. It kind of comes at you sometimes, right? It feels like you're being assaulted. So always want to make sure that you wear gloves when you're doing this kind of work, because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to get that capsaicin on your hands, and then later on you're going to rub your eyes or touch any other part of your body and you're not going to be happy with it, right? So always wear gloves, unless you like pain. If you like pain, then I guess more to you, but personally I don't like to burn other than the food that I'm eating, a little bit of spice, right? So what we've got here is, we cut the peppers at the end of the season, we cut them in half and we take seeds out of it. And I've got a seed dryer that I made. I may make a video showing what the seed dryer looks like and how to make one at some point. But we put these absorbent packets in there as well. So I dry the seeds in my seed dryer, and then I put a couple absorbent packets in there, and it helps the seeds from getting moldy and having any kind of issues and stuff. So right here's a cluster of seeds. It's kind of hard maybe to see, but usually when we cut them out and we dry them, we end up with these clusters. We don't try to separate things because it's just a lot more work than we need to. But when we start planting them, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we break those seeds up. So, usually what I do is I start kind of grinding them with my fingers here, and I get the seeds to kind of fall apart, to break apart, and then I get them in my glove here. So what was once a cluster is now, all the seeds kind of starting to fall apart. Once the seeds start to fall apart, what I then end up doing is I end up dropping them into the trays. There's different ways to go about planting seeds. Some people will put one seed in each tray. I like to do a multi-sowing technique where I put multiple seeds in each of the trays. I think that this works better because some of the seeds that you get, they're not going to be viable, they're not going to grow plants. So it's always better to put more in there as opposed to having less. Sometimes you get a lot of peppers popping up at once in one place. Sometimes you don't get anything. So it's sort of a crapshoot sometimes with some of these seeds, which ones are going to germinate and which ones aren't going to. So I think that by putting multiple seeds in these different trays, it gives us a higher chance that we're going to have peppers growing up in there. I'll show you some of our seed trays in a little bit here. Right? Some of the ones that we've already got started where there's multiple seeds and stuff popping up in some of them. And what we end up doing once they get to a certain point is we transplant them, right? And it's pretty easy to do. It doesn't hurt the peppers or anything like that. So this multi-sowing technique has been really successful for us, as we've been growing, because some of these seeds, they're just not going to turn into anything, and some of them might be weak, they might be slow growers, so on and so forth. So by multi-sowing seeds into these different pots and things, we're able to sort of pick which peppers we want to keep going, right? There's sometimes when peppers aren't growing very good at all, so we just kind of let them go to see what happens. Sometimes they make the cut and sometimes they don't, right? So I'm just kind of putting some of these in here. spreading them out a little bit. You know, usually, I guess it depends upon the tray, but I usually put like maybe 4, 5, 6 of them sometimes in some of these trays. This may be a lot, you know, some people may do less, but we've got a lot of seeds here. I mean, I don't know, you know, there's probably 500-600 seeds, maybe more, maybe even 1,000 inside here. I've never really taken the time to go ahead and count them and stuff like that. And with the seeds, if you keep them stored, so we keep them in a container and I put them in a closet, so that way it's kind of dark and there's no light and stuff hitting them, right? If you leave your seeds exposed to light and out in the elements and stuff, they're more likely to go bad, right? So keeping these seeds dry, right, with the absorbent packets in there, and keeping them outside of direct sunlight is going to be really important until you're ready to get them started, so you're ready to start growing things. All right, so today, you know, I'm doing some scorpions, right? So I'm getting these scorpions started, and once I feel like I've got enough scorpions and stuff in here, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to do just one more little sort of pass here with some of these seeds, and then I'm going to call this tray good. Right, so one of the things with super hot peppers is they take a long time to grow. Okay, stuff like jalapenos and habaneros, you know, the kind of peppers that you can get at the grocery store usually on a regular basis, those peppers grow pretty quickly, right? But super hot peppers, they take, you know, 5 to 6 months to be able to produce fruit sometimes, you know, and getting them started is really important. So Filderburn Hot Sauce, we're an Ohio company. We've got a greenhouse, that's where I'm at right now. Right, so I've got another video that kind of is walkthrough of our greenhouse, what it looks like and things like that. But we've got essentially a 50-foot greenhouse where we grow stuff in. So we start things pretty early, you know, November, December, January. We're usually starting some of the stuff, and then we kind of do some too in February just to kind of help give us some backups in case some of the plants don't make it. You know, we try to be cautious because, you know, we've got different hot sauces in our lineup, and we want to make sure that we have peppers to be able to produce the sauces that we need in order to keep things going, right? So once I put my seeds and stuff in here, I keep a little bucket here with me and I put dirt in it, right? And then I kind of sprinkle the dirt over top of the peppers. I don't fill these trays to the top with dirt initially when I put dirt into it, because then the peppers, they kind of sit there on it and there's a little bit of sort of cushion for me to be able to sprinkle this dirt. You don't want your seeds to be too deep because then it takes longer for them to come up. So, you know, maybe a 1/4 inch, right, or less of dirt kind of goes on top of these. You just need to kind of cover them. Just think of it as sort of like a sheet or a little blanket that you're offering for them to just kind of be able to help keep some of that moisture and heat and stuff in there. Coughing a little bit, right? Some of these peppers, there's some capsaicin that's coming off of them. Right, so again, that's why it's important to wear gloves if you're working with super hot seeds, because otherwise chances are you're going to regret it. All right, so I put the dirt and stuff on here, you know, get everything kind of how I want it, so that way everything is semi-even, right? Kind of packing it down just a little bit. I don't pack it down tight. I just kind of tap it just a little bit, so that way when I water things, the water doesn't make the dirt go everywhere. So I've got this tray, and those were scorpion peppers. So what I need to do now, and I think it's somewhere around here. Yeah, it's right here. Okay. So what I always do is I keep some duct tape and stuff in the greenhouse with me. I keep the duct tape in the greenhouse because I label my plants and stuff with it, my trays. You know, we grow a lot of variety of peppers and stuff here at Filderburn Hot Sauce. So knowing what the peppers are is really important, especially when we start putting them in our gardens, because we need to know like what peppers we're putting next to each other. You know, we try to keep all that stuff separate as much as we can. All right, so I just peel off a little piece of duct tape here and I stick it on the tray. And I got my Sharpie here and I just write scorpion on there. Okay, so that one's done. All right, so essentially it's pretty easy, right? I've got 3 more trays here, so today I'm going to get 4 trays started. I'm not going to bore you watching me plant all these different trays and stuff, right? But I'll keep the video rolling and then I'll edit it in a little bit to kind of make it faster, and then I'll do some more talking about growing peppers and all that stuff. Okay, so these are the finished products that I've got here, right? Where I've got all the seeds and stuff in there, and I've got dirt on top of them. I'm just going to set this up on top of here real quick. All right, here's my spider plant. So along with growing peppers, I have some sort of like house plants and pet projects and stuff that I've got out here in the greenhouse. I like growing things, and obviously you can see behind me I've got some aloe, and then there's some of my overwintered plants and stuff. I've got a lemon tree, a couple avocado trees that are 7 feet tall in here, right? So I've got a lot of stuff that's going. But kind of back to growing the peppers. So these are heat mats. You can find these heat mats on Amazon. I think they sell them from time to time at like Walmart and Meijer and different grocery stores and stuff. So, but Amazon is usually the best place to get them at. So the heat mats, they don't get too super hot, right? You don't want your plants to be too hot because then it'll end up like killing them. But when you're germinating seeds, you need a little bit of heat on there, right? So we put these heat mats down, and then we put the peppers, right, the plants on top of them. And what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna water these, right? So I'm gonna go get my hose real quick, and then I'm gonna get some lids and I'm gonna cover these up because those are all important things that I'll talk about here in just a second. So give me a minute and I'll be back. Okay, so we've got a hose out here in our greenhouse. A lot of plants and stuff, right? So we're able to water. What you wanna do when you're watering your plants is you just wanna go ahead and kind of lightly mist them, right? Just to get things kind of going. You don't want to spray too hard. I mean, if you've got a watering can, you can use a watering can too to water them with it, but this is just a lot easier, right? So I just kind of spray this and get the soil moist, right? Do the bottom layer here. Sometimes I pull them out too. It's a little bit easier to get at them than to try to spray the water back there. All right, so getting all these wet, getting everything moist. Not too much water, right? You don't want to drown things. You don't want your seeds like floating up out of the soil and stuff like that. I mean, there are holes in the bottom of my trays, so some of the water can drip out. So it's not too much in there. Right, to grow these seedlings, you need a few things, right? You need moist soil, you need some heat. I mean, you can technically start them without the heating mats, but it just takes longer, right? With the heating mats, it takes about half the time. So if you use heating mats, usually about a week and a half, you start seeing some peppers sprout. If you don't have heating mats, it could take 2-3 weeks, maybe even longer, right? Without that heat, then it's a lot longer. So we've got the domes here. Put the domes on because the domes help to maintain some of the moisture, right? Because you want this to be moist. So with the heat on the bottom and the water in there, it gets some moisture trapped in here, right? And seedlings, they like moist environments, right? A lot of plants, that's kind of what they like, is they like those hot, humid areas in order to be able to grow. Super hots are the same thing, right? They grow the best, they respond the best to warm areas, warmer climate, right? So in Ohio, we have to use some different tricks in order to get things going, right? So we've got the heating pads, we've got the domes, and then we just let them set, right? So it's about patience now, but in about a week and a half, maybe we should start seeing some sprouts. So I'm going to show you some of the other stuff that I've got going on too, to talk a little bit more about peppers, like what you can look to expect to see. You can kind of see the glow up here, right? So I'm going to flip the camera here. You can't see the grow lights, but we've got grow lights above all this stuff. So these are some peppers that I've started. The ones here in front of us, these are Scotch bonnets, and these are jalapenos. These types of peppers aren't as hot as like the ghost peppers and all that stuff that I just planted. So they grow a lot faster than some of the other ones, right? In here we've got reapers. All right, let me pull one of these kind of trays out and bring it closer for you. So I've got some reapers that I started here, and you can kind of see them. They're not super big yet, but they're doing good, right? So let me find another tray here with some that aren't as big and kind of walk you through the process here. Well, these are all small, but about the same. I think the back tray there, let me grab the back tray. That one must have just popped up recently. So when your seedlings start sprouting, what happens is you end up getting a pepper that looks like this, where you see two leaves essentially, right? You got the two leaves on there. And this is what happens when they first pop, is you have the two leaves on there. And then after time, grab this one that I had again here in the front, they start growing more leaves on them, right? So this one here, you've got 6 leaves on it, right? This one here, you've got 4 in the start of a 5th. So these are the actual real leaves is what they call them. When they've just got 2 leaves, this one here is actually just a 2-leafer. Right, this is when it first starting, but when it starts getting 4, 5, 6 and more leaves, they say that it's really starting to get its real leaves. Right, so this is what you're hoping for, is to get the bigger ones with the leaves on there. Right now, right, we use the multi-sowing, so we've got, you know, I think it looks like 4, maybe 5 in this one here. So some of these will grow and start looking good, and some of them will just kind of not be. They'll be dud seeds, right? So we won't do anything with them. But over the next couple weeks, as these start getting bigger, then we start transplanting them in different places. Let me turn the camera here so that way you're not looking at the side of my face. But right now, these pepper plants, we've got lights on them, right? We've got different greenhouse lights. Let me kind of take this off the tripod here and show you some of that stuff. Okay, so we've got lights up here that we've got on the top of our greenhouse. I think we purchased these on Amazon. Right, they're just strip lights. You can kind of connect them all together. Right, we've got peppers and stuff up here. I've got some seedlings that I started down here below under the domes. Right, nothing in that one yet. But I've got some that are just starting here in the Dragon's Breath. Right, there's probably some other ones starting in some of the other ones, but these are some of the peppers that we've got started that have been here, you know, for a couple weeks or some of them longer. Right, some cherry bombs here. Again, these are a faster growing variety of pepper, so these ones are going to get bigger faster than the other ones. We've got scorpions, and then I've got some Dragon's Breath here. These Dragon's Breath, these are one of the hottest peppers that you can currently grow. We make a couple different sauces with them. These plants here are doing pretty good. If you can see, they look nice and healthy. They've got, you know, 6 sets of leaves or more on some of them, and they're pretty decent size. So these ones here, pretty soon we'll have to transplant them. Right, you can also see we've got some praying mantises hanging out there. We've got one right there. I saw another one somewhere else, but I think he's hiding. Okay, there he is. Right, so we've got some praying mantises out here. It's kind of hard, the camera doesn't want to focus on that little object, but you see him right there on the plant. So they're doing their job. Oh, and there's one right there too. He's kind of going around, right? So they're gonna do good work. They're gonna eat the gnats. It's one of the things that you have to worry about out here in the greenhouse is you get a lot of gnats in the dirt. You know, if you're starting seedlings inside your house and stuff, you might not have the same problem because you're able to control the environment a little bit better. But in the greenhouse, it's one of the reasons why in the video you probably saw, and I'll kind of just sort of go out here, kind of see the fly traps that we've got hanging up and down the greenhouse. Those fly traps are to help to try to catch some of those fungus gnats. Right, if you look here, we've got quite a few of them on there. These fungus gnats, they're no good. They do a lot of damage to your plants. They burrow down into the soil and they actually attack the roots, so it can stunt the growth of the plants. So seeing praying mantises out here is a good thing, because praying mantises, as small as they are, they're gonna eat some of that stuff, right? So that way it helps, you know, to get rid of some of those numbers as well. We like to try to maintain a healthy ecosystem out here, a good balance, right, in order to help these pepper plants really grow. These jalapenos, they're doing pretty good. There's a little praying mantis kind of hanging out up there too. Right? See, he thinks he's hiding, but he's doing the work that he's supposed to be doing. He's waiting there and he's catching those gnats. So that's kind of pepper growing 101, I guess, right? If you've got any questions or anything, you can drop comments down below. I'll do my best to try to answer them, right? As long as it's something that I have the knowledge to be able to answer for you. You know, like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. You know, we post a lot of different content in those different places as well, in different events and stuff that we're going to be at, online sales or new sauces that we're making. So, you know, like and subscribe. Thanks.